Welcome for a Quali companion. We got the F1 2023 season kicking off with their first Quali session tonight. So we are trying something a little bit different here. I'm going to run you through the Quali. As you can see in the background, we've got our driver tracker, our live timing tracker and all that stuff. So we can get some live updates. And as soon as the F1 Quali kind of kicks off, that's when we'll start to see stuff out on track. Pretty bloody early here for me. It's like 2 a.m. It's bang on 2 a.m. right now. So, yeah, pretty bloody tired. But cars are just lined up at the end of pit lane at the moment, waiting to kick off. And they've just been given that green flag, and off we go. Not sure why I have to refresh this. Let's have a little look. See. Yeah, not sure why we didn't have the track up there. There we go. So as you see, we got Sainz, Leclerc, and then the two Alpha Tauris out there as well. And they're just kicking off on their first little outlap here. I just got to make sure that everything's all lined up. I'm about 30 seconds off. Here we go. Just got to make sure they're all lined up. Otherwise, I'm looking at something different to what you guys are seeing on here. So it's not quite live. Well, I guess it's as live as it can get. Another 10 seconds. Here we go. So this will be lined up pretty much exactly with what I guess I'm seeing on the live vision that I have. And there'll probably be like a 30-second delay for you guys. So as all this is happening, we're going to get some like driver commentary, not driver commentary, sorry. We're going to hear that radio comms and stuff like that as well. So it's a pretty cool little app we got here. Big changes this year. Everyone's talking about Red Bull and Ferrari, which is fair enough. Two top contenders. And looks like Leclerc's now coming through for a first flying lap. DRS open, slams on the brakes going into turn one. He's had a little lock up there, which is not great. And looks like he's taking the foot off a little bit. Here we go, Sainz is pushing through now. Looks like Leclerc's had some damage apparently. Yeah, as he's opened up his DRS, he's had a bit of carbon fiber just fly off. Yeah, that's one pretty crazy. Ferrari not really doing themselves any favors already. We've got Sonoda coming through now. And his new teammate. So there we go, the first lot of times coming through. We've got Sainz and De Vries and Sonoda. Sonoda obviously putting through the fastest time to start off with. A few more drivers out on track now. We've got Norris and Perez, Verstappen. Hulkenberg as well. Oh, jeez. The Ferrari car is falling apart. There is stuff coming off of it everywhere. And it looks like we've been red flagged. Not sure why. Probably because of all the crap that's coming off the Ferrari car. Of Charles Leclerc, but... not sure.
A piece of the wheel arch front, you can push next lap.
Yeah, so a bit of his wheel arch has come off. As you can see there, we got a bit of the radio chatter coming through for you guys, which is pretty good. We'll see if we can backtrack any of that. Yeah, the first one that's come through.
What did flew away? There's a part that flew away.
I will come back to you.
Yeah, so that was as he was coming down the straight. Leclerc chucked open his DRS and there was a chunk just kind of flew off. Which is pretty impressive that he picked that up straight away. And obviously that last little bit of comms there was...
Just let me know if it's all good on the car.
It was just a piece of the wheel arch front, you can push next lap.
Yeah, so after that little bit of radio comms, they've chucked out the red flag, so... not great start to the 23 season.
What happened?
There's some bodywork on the track.
There we go. Chris Sonoda finding out from his race engineer. There's a bit of bodywork on the track, which is why they've called that red flag. See if there's any more information on that actually on here. Doesn't look like there is. Nope, nothing. The Piastri and Leclerc, they should be coming in, obviously, this lap. It's a little bit of a shame. There's not much we can really do about that. Oh, trying to get a coffee into my head. So I can wake up a bit more. It's always a shame when the red flags come out so early. One in the season and two just in general during the weekend. We had a couple of red flags during testing, I think. I don't think there was much during the first 2 days, well, earlier today and yesterday. The times are getting down pretty low compared to what they've got in so far, which is fair enough. I'm pretty sure no one really put in a fast lap yet. You've got Sonoda topping the charts at the moment, but pretty sure that was just on his out lap. So, pretty interesting there. Just checking streams going all good on my phone, which it looking like it is. But yeah, well, hopefully this red flag doesn't go for too long. It shouldn't. Just a bit of bodywork on the track, so it should be a pretty quick and easy fix. But then again, stranger things have happened on Formula 1.
Can you check when we go in the right part of the car? 2 curve and turn 7 curve, and it felt quite harsh.
Understood.
Wow, so yeah, it looks like got a little bit of damage on both the Ferraris. Obviously, that radio comms there coming from Sainz through to his race engineer. Slightly delayed with that stuff, which I guess is fair enough. There's not much we can do with that. But big issues already for Ferrari. And if you were watching any of the live coverage, you got all the Sky Sports personnel doing the commentary. They were talking a lot about how Ferrari are going to be contenders, which obviously they are. They had a lot of issues last year, reliability being a big one, and a lot of strategy failures. But I think if they can put that behind them this year, they'll be pretty much up for the wins, which is unfortunate for me. Like I'm not much of a Ferrari fan, I guess, which I'm going to piss a lot of people off saying that, but you know, the big teams are not really something that I go for. So, if I was to go for any of the big teams, it would be Red Bull. And I know this sounds like I'm jumping on with the bandwagon. I think I've been sympathetic to Red Bull back in the days when Ricciardo were driving for them. And as much as I'd like to see someone else win the championships, like maybe last year it would have been good to see Ferrari up there pushing for championship. But it is what it is. I think Max was driving very well last year compared to all the other drivers, obviously. And yeah, he did a few dodgy things with Checo, but yes, that's racing. He has his reasons for doing that. But yeah, he drove extremely well last year. Not many mistakes, and that helped him get through for that second championship. It looks like we've got about 30 seconds left before the cars will get back on track. And they're all lining up now in pit lane, ready for that green flag. Interesting to see what everyone's thoughts are on the F1 grid this year. We've got some lower ranked teams like Haas, which seem to be doing pretty well in all the testing and everything. Here we go, coming back out of the track now with that green flag. I really feel for these commentators. I'm looking at the live coverage now, and you know, the feeds that they're getting are very similar to what I'm getting. But I can't tell which car is which on track. They're all very dark. So, but as you can see, we got Albon, both Alfa Romeos, and then the Haas's coming out. Stroll, Alonso, Verstappen following.
Tires are cooling down, so can you also just advise Joe to keep up the pace? Copy.
Yeah, sweet. So that was from Bottas going through to his race engineer. That must have been while they were sitting in pit lane, waiting for that green flag. But yeah, very limited time now. It's going to be very interesting. Very, very interesting. First session, or first Q1 for 23. All the drivers are going to be pretty much out on track. It's going to be mayhem, and it's a little bit disappointing to see my team's not out there. We've got Piastri. It looks like Piastri's coming out right now, but no Norris. So I hope there's not an issue. Well, here we go. Norris coming out now. So can't tell. I'm a pretty big McLaren fan. It's a shame that they've been hurting so much the last 2 years. Right, Albon's coming across the line now, along with both of the Alfa Romeos for their first push lap. And they're going to encounter, obviously, a lot of traffic. So I might go on board with Albon now. Have a look what's going on. Right, so Albon's doing well, avoiding obviously a lot of the traffic that he's got coming through here. Can I bring up the corner numbers on here? Thought I could. If I zoom in a bit, there we go. There he is, opening up the DRS. Down into turn 11. Got Verstappen on a push lap now. And Alonso not far behind him, which will be interesting. I'm very interested to see where Alonso is going to end up. I want to see these new Aston Martins. See how they go against the big dogs, the top contenders. Because there's a chance they could be best of the rest. There we go. Albon crossing the line. Should be top of the charts, obviously. With a 131.9, which is nice. And all the other cars starting to roll through now. Sorry about that. Yeah, most of these times sitting up in the 131s. It must be a little bit cooler out there than what it was the last couple of days. Well, obviously, during the day, those temperatures get right up for them. But we were seeing 130s throughout practice sessions. Verstappen putting it at the top. Surprisingly, Stroll up there. To be honest, I know he's going to get pushed down a fair bit, and Alonso taking the lead with the 131.1. We've also got Sainz and Leclerc on push laps now. Both AlphaTauris coming through, and Ocon about to cross the line. It's going to get pretty hectic here, but I want to see where these Ferraris end up. Top of the times for Leclerc, nice. And the Mercedes coming through, I'm going to say that they're going to be up there. There we go. Some nice times, some green sectors from Hamilton. And you got Sainz with the first purple sector. And 2 greens, putting it at the top with a 130.9. The Astri bottom. Last on the list so far. Perez obviously putting through 3 green sectors, and Norris chucking through 2 already. Coming into that last corner. Hopefully he gets a better time than his teammate. But it's not looking promising. It's not looking great. He does beat Piastri, but we're looking at the bottom of the track. Sorry, the list here, which is very disappointing for me. Sainz sitting at the top now with it was a 139, which is good. Good for them, but we're going to really have to be pushing. They've got 7.5 minutes left in Q1. All the cars are out. Stroll's in the pit. Any more radio comms come through? There we go. Stroll had his time deleted. Track limits. There must be a way of having these things pop up. I wouldn't mind having them pop up as we go. So get like a notification. Have a look. Display. I want to see what's going on. Right. Most of the cars coming in the pits now. You got a bit of disappointment, I think, from the McLarens, which is not really ideal for them with everything that's been happening and all their development. The drama last year with Ricardo, it's very, very disappointing that they haven't done better. I had a lot of issues during testing, and it seemed like they were doing okay during the practice sessions, but obviously, even though it was quite busy out there, they've not put in some great times. Very disappointing. Just watching a replay now with Stroll, by the looks of it. It looks like he's struggling just a little bit with that left hand of his. Which may be why he got that track limits, that time deletion. It's obviously put him bottom of the table so far. It's going to be a very tight top crew, I'm going to say, with the Ferraris, Red Bulls, and Mercedes. I think Alonso is going to be up here for this race, and going to really throw a spanner in the works. They may actually be a top contender. Alfa Romeos, I hope they do well this year. I like the look of their car. Bottas he's an adopted Australian now, so I love his little mullet that he's got now. Whole attitude change, which is good. Something that he needed, I reckon, coming out of Mercedes and going into Alfa Romeo. He had a fairly good year last year. A lot of issues with car reliability. But I think he's back in this year for a good switch up, good change of attitude, mentality, mindset, and may do some good driving for him. I was a little bit surprised with his teammate Bong Yu-zhou. Last year he did really well, which is good to see a rookie do that. I think there was a bit of controversy about Daddy's money, which was getting him into the team, that's fair enough. We got the same with Lance Stroll, and he does okay. So as you can see now, we got all the drivers coming back out on the track. The massive Congo line of cars sitting in pit lane. Is there an issue there? No. Looking like the Alonso car, the Aston Martin was sitting there. Don't know if he had an issue or not, if he's just giving himself a bit of a gap, but kept a few of the cars behind him. Right. But Albon's got himself a nice little gap here now. It would be good to see the Williams get up a little bit more. Like, they did pretty well last year for what they had. And I would like to see them do even better. So, very interesting to see what Albon can do. Very congested little sector right now. Here we go, Albon coming through the final corner. Pushing out onto the straight, DRS open. And let's see how he goes. He's going to be followed by Tsunoda and Stroll. Good first corner there for Albon. No lockups, which is good. Looking like for these cars this year, we're seeing a lot of lockups at the end of the straights, and I think it's turn 8 as well. Yeah, turn 8. They're having a few issues with turn 8 and 10. So, probably due to the camber in the road. Nice looking, quite planted, old Albon. Now you can tell when a car's is hooked up properly. the Williams is looking like it is. It's not looking unstable. We'll say that it's not looking like Albon's extracting the most out of that car for whatever reason. You know, you can see when like Max or Hamilton's on the edge of the car, like they're right on the edge of the limits. He's not looking like he's at that. 2 green sectors for Albon. We got Stroll with a green first sector as well, coming up behind. Here we go, Albon coming around for the final corner. Up into 6th place. He's obviously going to drop down a bit as all these cars start to come through across the line. Got Stroll just pushing up into P5. Norris, how did he do? Not that great. He's still in that elimination sector. Very good to see Kevin Magnussen out there in P12, just popping down to 13 as Ocon bumps him down. Bottas up into P10, taking Hamilton's spot there. So Piastri coming down onto the final part of the track to his 3rd sector. He's had 2 greens so far. I just want to see what he can do compared to Norris as the rookie driver. And as he crosses the line, he is not out of the bottom elimination sector, which sucks. Not looking good for him. Hulkenberg just puts in a time for P6, which is great, but Kevin Magnussen is being knocked down to P17, so he really needs to get a move on. Which unfortunately, as we're looking at the times there, Q1's done, and this is interesting. The bottom 5, or the bottom few cars, really going to be struggling here. Magnussen about to cross the line. Now let's hope we can get out. Which is going into the pit. So everyone's already done all their laps now, and that's pretty much it for Q1. Such a shame to see Magnussen down into P18. Good for Nico being up in 6th. Very, very interesting first Q1. Very, very interesting. So, Gasly, he'll be pretty annoyed with this, seeing the old team that he was in is down the bottom where he is now, and he had that move to Alpine to try and get up there with those top or middle of the pack contenders, which is obviously not going down too well for him so far. So, to kick off the 23 season, very interesting first Q1. As you can see there, we got Sainz, Russell, Leclerc in the top 3, with the Red Bull sitting in the middle of the pack in 7th and 10th. Which, as we know, Red Bull generally try and just play it safe and get through that first session. and then into Q2 and 3 they really start turning it on. But it's looking very tight this year. Gap between the cars is very small for the top contenders, and in the middle of the pack it's starting to spread out a little bit, but see how that goes. I don't know if it's better looking at that laps view or the sectors view. Might chuck her in the sectors view for this next Q2. Yeah, very interesting. Very disappointing to see the McLarens down into 15th and 18th. Very disappointing. I'll bring up some notes that I had for, I guess, this stream, or my predictions for 2023. So, try and do these in between all the quali sessions. But one of the questions we've written down here is, will there be a new race winner, and who? So my initial, what I have written down here, I had Lando Norris. But after seeing this, I'm not thinking that that's going to be the case. Very, very hard to choose now. Don't think Stroll has won a race, but I'm going to put him up there based on the fact that the Aston Martins are looking pretty tough this year. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. So I'm going to say Stroll. We got a minute and 40 seconds before the Q is off, so we'll crack through a few more of these. What driver will get most overtakes for the year? This one again is going to be quite hard. I'm going to pick one of the middle of the pack. This one I had originally written Fernando Alonso, and I think that's probably still a good pick, considering like when I wrote these, this was during testing, so obviously you don't have the best kind of view of what's going on with the cars and the drivers. But I've written here specifically that Aston Martin might have a good car this year. They did have some late form in the end of 2022, and hoping that they can carry that through into 2023, which is looking like they have so far. They're up there with the Red Bulls and Ferraris and Mercedes, and it's going to be a very interesting one, quali sessions, but two races this year if they can maintain that. So yeah, we'll go Fernando Alonso, and that'll be my driver with the most overtakes for 20. Next one is, at the end of this season, who's going to lose their seat? Or will someone lose their seat at the end of the season? I think the answer for that is no one will lose their seat. Unless we have some kind of injuries, I don't think we're going to lose anyone for their permanent seats. Out of all of the drivers, like, it's really hard, but I'm just going to pick out Logan Sargent. If he was to lose a seat for any reason, it'd be him, but I think from a political standpoint, that doesn't really work. Reason being for that is he's American. Drive to Survive has kicked off the Formula One, I guess, fan base so much in America that it is strategically correct to have American in your team, especially if you're a team like Williams. You've got now the backing of 300 million people. It's kind of like the Australians. Like, as soon as you have an Aussie in the grid, you're going to have the backing of all 30 million Australians, or close to 30 million. So we've got 3 races now in the US. We got Miami, Las Vegas, and the Circuit of the Americas. So 3 races now in the US where you're going to bring a lot of fans, and I think Williams will really have a lot more money coming in because of him. So I think he's like safe, but if there was to be anyone to lose, it'd be him. And I'm only picking someone because I have to. So as you can see now, Q2 has started. We'll try and go through one more question before the drivers head out, because it's looking like they're still in the garages now. Oh, I have actually written here under the who will lose their seat is Sonoda being up there as well. And I think that Sonoda will be there because he's had a rough, couple of years. And I think if he doesn't really start to pick up his game soon, Red Bull will start to like move him on. But I'm not. And who will be the most memed driver in 23? I think Danny Ricciardo obviously took win for that one last year. But I think he might actually still take the win for this year as well. He's going to do some stupid shit as he does. But we'll see. We got the drivers are coming back out onto track now. Sorry, just checking all my audio settings. Sounding like, because I'm listening to the commentary at the same time here, of which is why I had to check my audio settings there, because I can't have that coming through, otherwise I'll get pulled off Twitch. But yeah, there's a lot of controversy about the track limits. I think it's with Albon they're talking about. Few issues there. It's looking like he did go over outside of track limits, but it hasn't been picked up. So again, and the FIA killing it. Gonna be a very busy Q2 again, which is good. It's good for us. It provides us a bit of entertainment. And it's interesting to see the Red Bulls out right at the back. I suppose with that they're thinking about space. They're going to have more space. Alright, so Lance Stroll about to come into turn 14-15 and start his push lap. And here we go. I reckon Stroll's going to do quite well. I don't think he's a great driver, but I think he's got a good car under him. Good first corner for him. We got the drivers all starting to cross the line now. Stroll coming through. For a 132.3 for Stroll, which is not great considering what we were seeing in the last into Q1. Yeah, so it's looking like for some reason it's ended my stream. So I apologise for that if you were watching and got kicked off. There we go, Alonso into the 131s. 131.0, almost 131.1. Let's have a look, see what tyre sets they're all running. Obviously all running the softs, but it's not telling us whether they got new or old tyres. We've got Russell and Hamilton with a 130. Looking very good. Let's look at these sectors here. So he's had a pretty good last sector. And we got Sainz and Leclerc coming through. So top 4 for Sainz, top 5 for Leclerc. Max Verstappen coming through. Boom. There we go. Max Verstappen with a 135. 130.5. And Perez, where's he coming through now? Into P2. Red Bull 1-2. So nothing unusual there. Stroll's looking pretty quick coming down the back straight there, so hopefully he's on a push lap. I don't think he's had his cooldown lap yet, but we'll see what's going on here. Oh no, he's definitely on a cooldown lap. Probably coming into the pits. Very interested to see 1-2 for Red Bull, 3-4 for Mercedes. Alonso up there in 5th, just splitting, well, not splitting the Ferraris, but it's splitting up the Ferraris from the top of the pack there for the Mercedes Red Bull. So, yeah, very interesting. So, who else we got? Hulkenberg in 8. Everyone's starting to roll into the pits now, which is fair enough. Get hopefully a fresh set of tyres on and have another push. Norris up into P10, which is good for him. I'm not having much hope though for. So the bottom of the pack here, I'm going to say from P8 down into P15 is going to be very, very tight. With the exception of Stroll, if he can hook up a good lap, his car will put him up, I reckon, into P8, P7, P8. So, interesting to see the times there from Bottas down. Their times are slower than what they were in Q1. So, yeah, very interesting. It's like Albon's heading out now. He's on his about to be on his out lap. Sorry, he is on his out lap, about to be on his push lap. Ooh, Lance Stroll's getting pushed back in the pits. So I'm not sure what's happening here. Looking like he's missed the weighbridge there. And here we go with Albon down into turn 1. No lock up there. Nice, good line through turn 1. Into 2 and 3. Nice acceleration. Can't be too hard on the throttle there. Otherwise you'll be spinning all over the place and you'll end up doing a Grosjean. Looking like out of track limits there again for Albon, but no one's kind of picking it up. Yep, he's just come off in corner 6, 7 there, in between there, and he's abandoned this lap. He's pretty much done. I'm not sure what's happened there, but he went off in between 6 and 7 there, off track quite heavily. So he kind of come back onto the track through here. So, yeah, very, very interesting to see what happened there. I think he screwed up track limits at the end of into the end of turn 4. So, yeah, he did. He was very wide. Just watching the onboard replay here. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. I think he's got some issues with his car. He's got some really, really bad understeer. It's like that car's just not turning. Which is the reason why he actually ran off before turn 6 and kind of just cut all the way across. And looking at his onboard, he's actually got that wheel. He's trying to turn real hard, and it's just not turning. So hopefully he hasn't got any issues here. Now, I do feel for the Williams team and Albon specifically. I think that he's a good driver, and it's good that he's back in the team. I would have liked to have seen him stick around at Red Bull for a while, but it is what it is. Red Bull obviously found a good pairing that they've got now. So as you can see, we've got Ocon, Hulkenberg, Zhou, Bottas, and Tsunoda coming out now. So they'll be starting to separate. It should be about their last run, I reckon. Yeah, they'll get one more lap out, and that's it. They're done. So this will be the final run for all these cards. 2.5 minutes to go. So Albon's just come in just before, into his garage. So interesting to see what they're going to do. I think that might be him done. I can't see him getting out there. If he gets out there, he'd have to leave real quick. You can see quite congested behind Hulkenberg there. 2-minute warning just kicking off now with that elimination zone highlighted there for you. Ocon coming down the final DRS zone before coming into the final corner and about to kick off for his last push lap for Q2 before we start Q3. So everyone now is out on track except for Alex Albon. And we're on board now with Ocon on the live coverage. Keeps it inside track limits for turn 4, which is good. Where are we? Let's see if we can follow him. Can I click on him? Nope. Alright, so Ocon so far chucking in a green sector 1. You got Hulkenberg and Zhao putting in all green sectors. They're looking very good so far. Very interesting bit of spacing we got here for these push laps. We got Alonso coming into the DRS zone, the second DRS zone, and Ocon just coming through, crossing the line. Where's he going to go? Top 4 for Ocon. That's good. Hulkenberg coming through to top 3. Well done. Haas doing very, very well. We're still in that high 130s. Unfortunately, Zhao down into P9. Yuki Tsunoda, he's going to be out, unfortunately. And Bottas up into P8. Alonso, P2, second fastest. Norris, hopefully he can improve, which he does improve. Pushing Zhou Guanyu down into the bottom 5. Carlos Sainz goes up into the top there, fastest overall. And, sorry, that was Leclerc, with Sainz into the top 3. Let's see what the Mercedes can do as they cross the line. George Russell, third fastest. Hamilton just behind him into 4th fastest. Let's go Stroll. Can he get into Q3? And he does. Pushes Lando out. And sits into P10. So Perez and Verstappen. We got second for Verstappen and Perez in 7th. So actually really close Q2 there. So very interesting. So we're looking at Norris, Bottas, Zhao, and Tsunoda being knocked out. With Albon didn't even get a run at the end there. So disappointing for the Williams team. Yeah, unfortunate there for Williams. So all the cars will start coming in now. And yeah, very interesting to see. Let's see some of these time differences here. Cool, so you can see between Leclerc up in P1 and Verstappen got a 0.2, and I'm assuming that's off the leader, a 0.225, so nothing between 2 and 3 for Verstappen and Russell, and same again between Verstappen and Hamilton. Russell and Hamilton. Very close up the top there. Signs again, they're just within a bee's fart of each other crossing the line, which is very, very good to see. It's going to be very exciting few races, I think, at the start until we start seeing some development, and I think we'll start to see some of the bigger teams start to pull away. But good to see Alonso only 0.3 away from that top of the pack, and Ferrari, even though they had those issues at the start, they're getting back up there, which is good for them. I'd like to see how the race is going to go. I think it's going to be so close in that top 6 this year. The top 3 teams being Ferrari, Red Bull, and Mercedes, they're going to really chock up that top 6 positions, and I think Aston Martin are going to come through as the best of the rest for this year. And they're going to be splitting that top 6 every now and then, which is great for them. Oop. Sorry, guys. Yeah, great for them. Anyway, we'll go back into our questions that we had, or our predictions for 2023. So the most meme driver, we spoke about that before. That was what I would think would be Ricciardo. And the reason I'm saying Ricciardo is because he's still extremely loved by everyone. Yes, he's not a driver, but I think he'll outdo all of the other drivers for memes. Second to him, if Tsunoda has some good interviews, he will be up there for the best memed. But I'm not sure. Maybe Hulkenberg. That's a hard one. Most surprising driver. Who will be the most surprising driver of 23? I think most surprising driver is going to have to be Hulkenberg. And it's... as I say, it's almost not a surprise. He's had a fair few years in Formula 1 now. He's been on and off. But I think with this new team of his, with Haas, he's going to do quite well. Haas is going to do the best that they've done in probably ever. And I think Hulkenberg will be their best driver this year. K-Mag was killing it last year, but I think he's too on and off. He's too inconsistent, which is kind of what he's been doing his whole career, which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, I'm going Hulkenberg. Most disappointing driver, I think most disappointing driver will be Nick De Vries. I think there's been a lot of hype around him. Oh, and you know what? Piastri's probably up there as well. Piastri's up there with most disappointing. There's been a lot of hype around those two drivers, and I think that they're just going to not be able to perform to their best due to their cars. Which is going to be a shame. And I think out of that, Piastri is going to struggle the most, unless those McLarens can do some development, like some proper development. See how it goes. What team will be best of the rest? I think that's pretty clear, and I think that's going to be Aston Martin. They've got an amazing driver in Fernando Alonso, sorry. And it looks like they've got a car that is going to give him the ability to hook it up this year. Stroll's going to learn a lot. Stroll's always been, yes, a good driver, and he's learnt a lot. So he's going to really be able to capitalise on having Fernando in there to be able to help him. So they're going to do well this year. They're going to get good points, and as long as nothing reliability-wise happens to them, they'll be up there. Constructors Championship. Who do I think is going to win? I'm going to say Red Bull, but I think it's going to be close. I think that Ferrari, if they have fixed their reliability issues, I think that they might have a really good chance at the Constructors and the Championship. I don't think that their drivers are good enough for a championship win. Leclerc is an amazing driver. I just don't think he's got that consistency that you need to be a world champion. Something that Verstappen and Hamilton both have. Of which we've seen mistakes come from those two. I just don't think, from what we saw of Leclerc last year, his frustrations comes out on track, which I don't think is going to help too much. Whereas, you know, Max, he's just frustrated every time he gets in the seat, which is, I guess, what he's just used to. So that's what we expect. So Q3 has now started. We've got 11 minutes and 30 seconds left. So just going to have a look at my stream here because we had that little issue. It looks like OBS kind of shit itself. So yeah, apologies for that. Pretty sure if you were watching, you got booted, which sucks. But you know, we'll trim that shit together in post. So the team's looking like they're starting to get ready to come out. They've got the Ferraris coming out of their garage right now. Both Ferraris coming out. And you've got Verstappen out on track already. Is good to see. With Perez following him closely behind. So, very nice. Good bit of gaps between the first couple of cars so far, so won't be as congested, which is... I think it's good, giving them the space they need, because you're getting the right... I guess you're getting the right environment for the drivers to do the best that they can do. But yeah, see how they go. There's my coffee. Here we go. So brand new tyres for all 5 cars that are out there. Obviously, you want to have the best chance of getting up top for these guys. Aston Martin, they're again really in the hunt for, I'm going to say, top 3 positions here. In one of the top 3, like, it'd be great to see Alonso up there, you know, splitting the Ferraris or splitting the Red Bulls. I think he's an amazing driver. We saw that last year, and I love his little spats that he has on the radio. Verstappen coming down the last DRS zone, ready for his push lap. And off he goes. DRS open. And behind him on the main straight is Perez, picking up a little bit of a toe. It'll be interesting to see how Leclerc and Sainz do this. They look like they have a fair bit of a gap. I thought that they'd be trying to tow each other through. It is pretty much, Leclerc's pretty much into T1 as Sainz is crossing the line, so I don't think they're going to get much tow off of there. Let's see if we can compare Verstappen and Leclerc. Let's have a look what's going on here. Max is having a good lap with the purple sector so far. Leclerc with his green first sector. DRS open for Verstappen as he comes into the the second DRS zone. Tight turn into turn 11 there. And Perez following him through. Purple sectors again for Verstappen. He's looking quite hooked up, which is good. His final corner, let's see, track limits. Easily inside. And he'll push through now. 29.89, which is good. Leclerc had a purple second sector, so it'll be interesting to see what he can get on his last sector here. Will he take Verstappen's spot into the top row? No, he won't. He's up into second. Sainz coming behind, crossing the line with a P4. Slowest of the times we've had so far was Stroll on a used set of tyres, apparently. And a 131.9. We got Alonso coming out of the pits now, followed by the Haas cars, or at least one of them. Can't see who that is. Hulkenberg. So it'll be interesting. Hopefully Alonso's got new tyres on here. I didn't really get to see. We've got the Mercedes coming out of their garage now on brand newies as well. New soft tyres. Be interesting to see what happens here with the Mercedes. Are they going to try and split the teams? Like, they're obviously going to push for 1-2. As you should if you could. But it's interesting to see them come out, I guess, so late. With 5 minutes to go. They can only really get... Well, they can get a quick 2 laps in, but... Quick turnaround for them. Carlos Sainz has had something happen through his flying run. He's had a little bit of a snap. Oh, 2 snaps through 6 and 7. So that's a bit of a shame. So that'll be why he's down into 4th. So yeah, we'll see how he goes. Verstappen and Perez will go into the pits, probably followed by Sainz, Leclerc, Stroll. The outlap, we've got Alonso coming through, followed by Hulkenberg, which I thought would be a little bit closer to Alonso to try and get a bit of a tow. And I reckon the Mercedes are going to do the tow to get Hamilton up the top. Seeing how close they are. If they swap before the final corner, then I would say that they're not doing a tow, but we'll see how they go. Alonso now following him into T1. A nice turn in there, a little bit wide on the apex, which is going to compromise him coming up the hill, but he'll come into the 4th corner, which is where we got to watch those track limits there, and he's looking very close, probably on the white line there, so all good. So he's looking like a bit down on the top runners now. So coming through into turn 9 is where we've seen a lot of lockups. He takes it quite well. A little bit wide on the apex, which again is going to compromise him coming down the straight, but DRS is open up into turn 11, and he'll be pushing through with the back end of the sector. So what's he's got now for his second sector? Green second sector. The end of that last DRS zone coming into turn 14, 15. A little bit squirrely on the exit of the final corner there. Coming across the line. Goes on second row there into 4th. Very nice. With Hulkenberg coming up behind the final corner. No chance of him getting track limits there. And up into P6, which is quite nice. I'm sure that he would be loving coming into this team this year and having a top run. Russell next across the line goes 5th fastest, followed by Hamilton. Ooh, only 7th fastest. So, sorry, I had a little bit of a pause there with my thinking. Apparently, Hulkenberg has potentially got a deleted track time. Yeah, Hulkenberg's had his time deleted, so no time for him. Sure, that'll show up on here. Yep, time deleted. Track limits turn 4. Leclerc, for some reason, he's out of the car. He's done. He's done his run. There's only 1:55 left. You got Verstappen, Perez on the outlap. Ferrari seems to be quite confident with Leclerc being out of the car already. Maybe they've got a bit of an issue. Very interesting here. So Stroll and Alonso should be coming through now for their last little push. Hoping Alonso's gonna... Well, Alonso must be coming in. Very slow there on the map. Yep. So that's it for Alonso. He's done. He won't get out and do another lap now. He's only got 50 seconds left. So I think he's going to be happy with his position in P4. He'll probably end up into P6. And here's the Red Bulls coming through now across the line. They're going to be pushing, obviously, for a 1-2. Verstappen already sitting into P1 with a 1:29.8. With Perez probably just within the towing range there. Get a little bit of a tow off Verstappen. Bring him up into P2 if they can. Sainz coming through as well to try and improve his time. So Max Verstappen, sorry. Ooh, trying to stay on the white line there into turn 4, which is looking like he's done. I reckon he might be close for track limits there. We'll keep checking on the stats. The checkered flag's been waved, so this is the final run for anyone who's out on track doing a push lap. We've got Ocon coming down the back end. Stroll must have just got across the line. 8th fastest. Yep. And Ocon, no change. Ocon up into 9th. So here comes Max Verstappen down the last DRS zone into the final corner. Nice exit there. Nice and safe for track limits. Is he going to improve? Yes, he does. He extends the advantage out to the front. And Sergio Perez comes across the line into 2nd position. So Red Bull 1-2. And Sides coming through. Has he done anything magical to try and take up the Ferraris into 1-2? No, he doesn't. We've got a 3-4 for Ferrari. And that ends our Q3. So very, very intense qualifying. It's been a little bit crazy. We've had a very congested... We've had a red flag in Q1. We had a very congested Q1 and 2, and Q3 having, some of our drivers only being able to do the one lap for some reason, being Leclerc. It's either they were happy with his drive, which they've done all right by pulling him out and still having a 3rd position, but got a Red Bull 1-2, Ferrari 3-4 with Leclerc and Sainz, Alonso 5th, 6th for Russell in the Mercedes, followed by Hamilton and Stroll and Ocon. So it'll be a very interesting start to the 2023 season with our first race coming up tomorrow. I won't be commentating on that one or doing what we're doing now. But I will be watching, and hopefully you'll be watching too. So thank you very much for watching the Quali Companion, and we'll be doing this a lot more often. I'm going to be doing every qualifying session for 2023, improving as we go. So if you have any feedback, anything you want to see throughout these sessions, please let me know, and I'll do my best to edit all that in. So we'll see how that one goes. For now, wherever you are in the world, good morning, good night, good evening, good afternoon, whatever. We will see you next time. Peace out.